Hi, Purpose Partner. Welcome to another episode of Rise to Your Purpose, a personal and spiritual development podcast for female entrepreneurs with a mission. We are your hosts, Brandie and Natalie.
We are founders of Victorious Entrepreneurs Rising, where we guide women to build profitable businesses online through diversifying your income, using kingdom principles in marketing, and operating in a spirit of rest so that you can create kingdom impact.
After this episode, be sure to join our Purpose Partner Facebook community and get your copy of our Rise to Your Purpose devotional so we can continue to serve you as we partner together in our faith and business. Let's dive into today's episode. Hey friends and Purpose Partners, welcome back to another episode of Rise to Your Purpose. I'm your host, Brandie Thomas, and I'm really excited just to share some new developments in my own journey today with you, and just kind of share some things that God is showing me. So this past year, I've not gone away from business, but I have definitely pulled back in different areas, just because I felt like there was so much noise in my life and in my world, and I couldn't really hear my own thoughts or God's thoughts. And I was just like, I don't really know what I want, because I spent so many years living up to other people's expectations, doing all the things, only to kind of find myself at this place where I was like, I'm not fulfilled. There's a misalignment somewhere, but I'm not sure where. So let's kind of peel everything back. Shake the tree, if you will, see what falls out and what sticks. So I've kind of been on this journey the past year of doing that, just like really slowing down, peeling back things that are not serving me, that are not fulfilling, that are not fun, and really pouring into, okay, where is my peace? Where is my joy? Where does God want me to be and aligned with in this season? What is the assignment for this season? So asking those questions. So I want to, just encourage you, like if you're feeling overwhelmed, overstimulated, if you're feeling maybe stuck in your business or your life or relationships, whatever, I would just take a minute and stop and just pray, God, what season am I in? Am I in like winter, spring, summer, fall? And what assignments do I have in this specific season? So I found myself in, I would say, like a fall and winter season the last year. So a lot of pruning happening, a lot of things being cut off, and then almost like a dormant season where I just like rested spiritually, physically, emotionally, and kind of just did work behind the scenes. I felt like I was in a really hidden season. And at first, like right when I'm in the pruning season, I was trying to be in like a spring, summer season. And I'm like, nothing I do is working. And I realized actually after going through the Bible study of Elijah that Priscilla Shire does, that I was like, oh my gosh, I was supposed to be in the season where God just provided for me. How Elijah just took Elijah to the brook Cherith and he fed him with the ravens and he had the brook while there was like a famine going on. And that was the season I was supposed to be in last year. But I was trying to like do all these things, build all these things, make these things happening, and they all just like literally fell flat. And so that was really hard for me because I feel like I'm just getting sucker punched left and right when really I'm doing things that are not a part of that season or a part of that assignment. So once I got into realization, I'm like, okay, God, I totally missed the season I was in. Let's recalibrate. Let's slow down for a minute. What season am I in now? And I felt like he was just like, be still, just be. Can you just be my daughter? Is that enough for you? Can you just be my daughter? And I remember journaling out like, who is Brandie without her business? Who is Brandie without these different things and expectations that I had in my life? And I just wrote, can I just be a daughter of the King? And it was actually kind of hard for me to write that out because I was like, ooh, I have a lot of my identity in my business, in these different areas of my life. And being just a daughter of the King didn't seem enough. And it sounds so silly to say that out loud, but really when I was journaling that and processing that, I was like, oh man, I you mean I don't have to do anything? I don't have to do more than just be a daughter of the king? Like, it was almost like I couldn't accept that. And so God, in his grace and his mercy and his gentleness, just kind of took me down a path where he's like, just keep peeling these things away. Just be my daughter. Just be still with me. Breathe. Take advantage of this time where I'm giving you provision financially. I'm giving you provision in healthcare. Like, there's just so many different ways he was provided for me that was out of the box that allowed me to truly get the help I needed in that season. So I know I've shared this with you. I've been working with a grief counselor since this past May, and that was just such a beautiful blessing, the way her and I connected. And we actually got connected through another girl I know through Kingdom Alliance. And so just, and taking the space to go through the Radiant Leadership Academy and Radiant Leadership Academy Level 2 and Coach RLA, and just allow God to continue to prune me and convict me and shift my belief systems and rewire my belief systems through those trainings. It's just been a really cool journey. Now that I'm towards the end of that journey, right? Going through it was not cool. It was not fun. It was very uncomfortable. There was a lot of tears, a lot of resistance. But over and over and over, I was like, can I do this yet? Can I do this yet? And he's like, no, just be still. Just be. Just be. And as I've been getting more healing, as I've been reprioritizing things, as I've been leaning into the assignment that he has for me in this season and what that looks like in this season, and walking in obedience, there has been a level of peace and freedom that I've experienced that I haven't experienced in a long time, and it truly feels so good. And I remember one of the journal prompts that I journal in the mornings is, at the end of the day, I would know that this day was successful. Sorry, let me rephrase it. So it goes, at the end of the day, I would know today was successful if I felt blank. And so every day my answer would be like the joy of the Lord, joy and peace, rest. Like, those were the things I was actively seeking from God. And for a while there, it felt like there was a veil. It was like I couldn't reach the fullness of God's joy and his peace and his rest. Like, it was there, but there was like something blocking me from it. And so the more I was able to work on healing different things with my grief counselor and just diving into the Bible and reconnecting with God, like, the more that peace became accessible, the more that joy became accessible. And it's just been really cool to sit in that and not have really any other expectations than to just sit in his joy, sit in his peace, in his rest, and just let him take care of me, let him provide for me. And yes, I'm still working. Yes, I'm still showing up and meeting responsibilities and doing things. I'm not just sleeping in bed all day, but I'm also not doing a lot of things that I used to do. And I'm giving myself in different ways that are bringing peace and not stress, that are bringing joy and not resentment. So I really looked at, okay, what are the things that I'm doing? What are the daily method of operations? What are my habits? And what are actually serving me and what are causing me suffering? And if you listen to a podcast that Lene Pisano and I did a couple months ago, she gave the definition of, like, suffering is wanting things that you don't have or having things that you don't want. And so I looked at, okay, what are things that I want that I don't have? And are those things actually for me, or am I causing myself unnecessary grief and suffering because I'm trying to strive and reach for these things that are actually, like, not for me at all? And then I looked at, okay, what are the things that I do have that are causing me frustration or resentment or joy or burnout, or not joy, and burnout, and can I strip those away? And so that was a really great exercise for me as well on this journey, to just be like, okay, these things are not for me in this season, and I don't need to try to meet those expectations anymore. So let's strip them away. And a lot of that did impact or connect to the things I was doing in business. So, like team calls, for example, I don't need to be the leader of every team call. So, letting Natalie do a lot of that's like where she wants to be right now. And I know there's going to be a time where I'm starting to feel like, okay, God's going to give these different things back to me, and I can pick up that slack. But it was really awesome to have her partner with me, because she could, she was like, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to focus on. Great. I don't want to. It's draining me. It is not fulfilling to me right now. I'm feeling burnout, and I just need to step away from pouring out right now in that specific way. So that's just an example. And what was cool is that we were able to actually let other women in our community step into that leadership role. And so God showing me like, hey, you don't have to be the leader, or leadership doesn't have to look like this in every season. Let others take that leadership in that specific capacity. And you can lead in the back end, or you can lead in different ways. And so that was a really cool lesson for me too, to just be like, okay, it's time to bring up and rise up that next leader. And so letting different women on our team, specifically with our Kingdom Alliance team, to lead our team calls. They're like 30 minutes, and half of it's like Q&A, and half of it's like maybe a little training. And it was so beautiful to watch these women step into that capacity, that role, and just shine. Like, I was so proud of these ladies. So that was a really cool experience, to like step back, but know that nothing was lost. And it was okay for me to step back, because there was still contribution happening. Like, the ball wasn't dropped, it was passed to the next person who is ready for that assignment, who's ready for that season and their journey. And so that was also really cool. Like, me pruning things away actually allowed other people to step into their appointment. So that was like a really cool experience to just reflect on. And so let me see if I can think of any other. So other, like social media, that was a big one where God was like, oh, man, I fasted social media for the 40 days with Lent, and it was amazing. And I honestly was like, man, if I didn't have a business, I probably would not be on social media at all. And if I didn't have like my 3 best friends that I send reels to and memes to, like that was what I missed most, was like, there's like 3 best friends and my husband and like 2 of my girlfriends. Those are my best friends. And that that's like how we communicate with each other. That's how we love each other. And so I did miss that. But honestly, like, I did not miss showing up and doing Facebook Lives and doing different workshops and different things. And so that was another thing that God stripped away. And it was very confusing for me, because I'm like, God, these are desires that I had. These are like ways of being, and to not do them, I'm like, who am I without showing up and doing a training or doing a workshop? Like, what does it look like to just be? But honestly, I found so much peace, and it was almost like that creativity part was just taken away. And so even if I wanted to show up and do a Facebook Live, I was like, I don't even know what to say. Like, there's nothing new coming to me. And so I just kind of laid that down. And when I had something on my heart, or I had something to say, then I would show up and say it and post it. But I wasn't like needing to be on social media every day and posting every day. And honestly, I really didn't see a big loss in the algorithm or in my, comments. Like, when I came back on social media, people were excited that I was back. And when I post, like, I get pretty much the same amount as I did before. So there was really nothing lost with taking some time off social media. And that was what God needed. That was like, for me, I think, because it was a distraction from my relationship, from that connection I needed with God. So that was one of the things that like he had me strip away. So I just wanted to give you a couple examples of what that personally looked like for my life. So like if God is asking you to do some things where you're noticing your desires are starting to shift and change, like take note of that, because that probably means God is pruning some things away. He's preparing you for a new season. He's preparing you for just like a whole new journey. And so take note, like when your desires and the joy, things that you used to have joy in, no longer bring you joy, take note of that and get curious about that and ask questions. And I was like, okay, God, is this desire gonna come back? Is it like, are you closing the door on that? Is it just shutting it down? And he didn't necessarily answer those questions right away, but all I heard was like, just be right now. Just be my daughter. Just be still. Hide away with me. Come into the secret place with me and just lean in. So that's really what I focused on these last, I feel like 14 months of just like leaning in and really stripping down and doing only the things that I needed to do. So for me, that looked like coaching my Radiant Leadership Academy classes, doing the classes for myself, like going back through as a member, and really spending a lot of time with my family and my homestead and just getting my house in order. I feel like that was a priority for me in this season, was just to get my house in order and bring peace into this space. Healing physically, spiritually, emotionally was another huge priority. And if I was pouring out and giving my time and space, I wouldn't have space to hold time for my story, for the things that I really needed to grieve and work through. So that was like a priority that, God wanted me to focus on. And as I'm like coming, I feel like out of that winter season, if you will, that hiding away season, there is this new desire that's starting to bubble up inside me, where I'm just like, okay, I'm starting to get excited for building my Kingdom Alliance business again. And I'm starting to get excited about posting on social media again in a business capacity. And I feel like I finally have this message and there's this culture I want to create. And so I'll be sharing more of that with you in the coming episodes. But God is definitely, he's just doing a new thing. And if I wouldn't have paid attention to the season I was in and the assignment of that season, I would have missed so much. And that's kind of what happened to me last year. It was like I was trying to force a spring, summer season into a fall season. And the enemy just came in and, he just like killed, still, and destroyed a lot of things in my life. And I let him. I gave him dominion and territory. And now I'm at a place where I'm like, nope, you have no more legal ground. And I'm just so grateful that God was gentle and he was willing to restore that season so that I could still get the things out of it that I needed to get out of. And so I think that's kind of why it's taken me so long to get to this place, because I delayed the season I was supposed to be in. I delayed the gifts that he was supposed to be giving me, the lessons I was supposed to learn, because I was trying to force something else to happen. And so I'm going to keep this short. I could go on, but I think I'll just wrap it up here and I'll dive into a different episode of really what my vision is for this new season he's walking me into. And I'll just leave it here with, if you're feeling overwhelmed, overstimulated, kind of stuck, I encourage you to just take some deep breaths and just ask God, what season am I in? What is the assignment and the lessons that I need to learn in this season? And, give me strength as I walk obediently in that. Help me to release what is not for me and receive what is for me. That is my prayer for you. And that's my encouragement for you to pray for yourself. So with that, ladies, I love you. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. We would love to hear from you. So please share your takeaways by tagging @LiveVictorious over on Instagram and leave a review.
This will help us get more visibility and reach more women like you for the kingdom. We appreciate you and are praying for you as you shine your light in the business world. and rise to your purpose.